morning and welcome to our live talk program. This is Lloyd Grubb here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering current events on this year, Thursday. And I'm looking at a topic: all houses, garden, cities take thoughtful planning and hard work. So, all houses, gardens, and cities takes thoughtful planning and hard work. So, this is our process of meditation for today as we get ready to start the day. So, welcome again and let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, I thank you for the blessings of your word and for the blessings of this day. Pray that you may be with us, dear Lord, as we study together. May you bless our minds, that we may truly make choices, dear Lord, that will result, have plans and make choices that will result in good outcomes. May you bless us, we pray, for Christ's sake. Amen. So I'm looking at this topic again with you here, that all um, houses, all gardens, all cities take thoughtful planning. And the concept there is that when you want certain results, you have to plan accordingly to get those results. Those results don't come by accidents, they come by careful planning and execution. And so when you plan something, then there's likely that you run into problems, but it is more likely that if you plan, then you have a better chance of succeeding than if you don't do any plan. You don't plan anything at all and expect results. The results will not come. And that's just part of life, and that's how part of life goes. So I want to encourage you that everything you do in life, whether it be on your health, your finance, your way of making money long term, because we're in this game for long term winnings, that you always have a plan in place and you put something together. When you do life like this, your life will always be better because, as I say, you can't adjust something that you didn't plan. And life should not come by chance. And this is what I want to share with you here. So I'm continuing my theme for the last 2 weeks, which is my saints, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. So when we make a covenant with the Lord, or we make any covenant, especially when we talk about relationships, jobs, marriage, anything like that, these covenants are always made with sacrifice because there is a sacrifice that will come along. Because stuff happens, or there's choices that when you're making, and I'm going to deal with this cascades of choices. When you make a choice, that means something got to go, something is given up. And especially if you say, I will marry somebody, when you marry somebody, the whole premise of that choice that you're making or that plan that you're making is that you're going to plan life with this person. And come, as I say, hell or high water, you're going to stick in there. So that's what it is. So choices ultimately comes with sacrifice. There's something has to be sacrificed. And that's part of what it is. Our main text is in Psalms 50, verse 4 and 5 and 22 and 23, which he says here, the psalmist says, He shall call to the heavens from above and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And so we want to be able to understand this. This is, again, my process of meditation. So we understand this, that we're making a covenant, but that covenant is always by sacrifice. But anything you're doing in life, even if you're just shaking hands with somebody or you agree to something, the moment you make that agreement, then there's something that is going to have to go. There's something that you have to give up. There's cascading choices that we make. So now consider this. All ye that forget God, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Whoso offered praise glorified me, and to him that order his conversation or his lifestyle or his way of living aright, will I show the salvation of God. Will I show salvation? So there's things that when you order yourself aright, you get results. And this is simple because we deal with current events. It's always simple to see in current events. Why? Because when you experience life this way, you see somebody that goes on the path of drugs and alcohol, you see the end results. It's just clear. When you see a person go down certain paths of life, the end results is always devastating long term. And so we don't want to make those choices. We make choices that are going to give us lasting results, lasting long term results. And this is what we want to be able to do, and do this over and over again. So notice here as I continue, this is the main point, and I had to write this down because I couldn't. It's a lot of thought, or it's a simple thought, but it's a thought that I wanted to say clear to you for your understanding as you go through this day, or if you started this day. So notice here, it says here, good results do not come about by luck. So that's me talking there. So good results do not come about by luck. When you're in this life, there's time and chance happen to us. So, you can get a door open for you and things can happen for you. I'll never tell to somebody that you can't go out there one day, win the lottery or stuff like that. Time and chance happen to everybody. But if you live your life with that concept in mind, that luck is gonna always work on your side, or you could be very fortunate or unfortunate. You'll never have a good life. This life here, there's such a thing as you go out there, you put in your hard work, you make that money, and that money is guaranteed, so to speak. Because good help is always hard to find. But there's many people that they always looking, they're not making certain plans in their life, and they're expecting that luck is gonna save them. Good fortunes are gonna save them. And when that doesn't save them, they always have a devastating experience. Or they live life in such a way that they need something big to come about and save them. And when that doesn't happen, life can become very devastating and very depressing. So we don't live like that. We do everything, and we arrange our life in a plan. And then as things move on, we just readjust the plans, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. But you know that it's a guarantee that there's going to be winter. Now, somebody could say, is the winter going to be mild, or is it going to be a warmer winter, or it's going to be a cold, frigid cold winter? Well, we don't know, but we know definitely it's going to be winter. The leaves are going to fall off the tree, and there is going to be winter. So you just make your plan. So in this life, again, somebody could say, well, I was just lucky. Yeah, good for you. And good for me sometime. I get fortunate. Things happen. I meet somebody that, there was no way on earth I would have been able to meet this person and meet the person, and then I get fortunate. But you don't live your life like that. If you're in a hurricane zone, you always build with the intention that there's going to be a hurricane. So say, for instance, you build your house and for 10 years there's no hurricane. Well, good for you, good fortunes. That's a good thing. But that's not the way you do life. You do life where you need to have a hurricane plan. And this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to build a house. And this is what it is. So when now, say a hurricane come and the power goes out, things get washed away. There's shortages of food. There's water shortage, all that type of stuff, because power, electricity gone, and all of that. You made your plan, so now you rely on that plan and you get a better result. Somebody could say, well, I'll get fortunate. Great, but you don't never live life with that concept in mind. You always have a backup plan, or you plan for what you know will happen sooner or later. And that's just the process of life. If you live in an area that has earthquakes, then you just know that you probably shouldn't have anything that is not certified, that if the earthquake hit real hard and keep shaking, that a concrete roof will not come down on your head and crush you. So you just build knowing that, say, listen, I have to know that the structure is at least certified to a certain degree for a certain scale on the Richter, the certain level of earthquake. And then if it happens, or what happened, what's above my head, what's going to come crashing down? And, and how do I protect myself? Do I make at least my bedroom where I sleep in like a bunker? You do life that way. And when you do life that way, you get better results. It's a plan. You plan because you know things are just going to happen, and you know the zone you live in, and you know how life will work out. Now, does all the time you can plan, and then things always go according to plan? Not really. That's how life is, and that's where I would say now fortune and luck comes in. But if you know certain things, you just know. Listen, you have bills to pay. You just have to just go out there and just do the hard work every day, and plan along. But as I say, you should go through life and always not just balance your checking account, but you should have actually a budget, something that you're planning. What am I planning to do in the next 5, 10 years? And so forth and so on. Your plan. Same thing with your health. You're going to get older. It's a guarantee. There's not such thing as a luck. You're going to get older. So every day you get up and you're eating. What are you eating? How is it looking forward? Remember, everything we do is always future looking. There's nothing that you're doing today that is not something that will affect tomorrow. Everything we do is future looking. So that's how you do life. So you always have to plan. What you planning? You're planning ahead for what's coming. What's coming? You're going to get older. So how you eating today? How is your diet and lifestyle? You put a plan together. How am I going to take care of this situation? Same thing with sooner or later, we all going to have to get to it. If life lasts, we all going to Move on to retirement. What's your plan? Everything is always involved planning. And so doing life by luck is a sure way to do life messed up. And because luck means that you don't think that says certain things are going to happen, but they're going to happen. So have a plan, execute the plan, and the results will be realized. So if you have a plan, you must execute it. Now you put the plan together, then you execute the plan, and the results will be guaranteed. All plans involves a sequence of choices that culminates in a final decision for a desired outcome. So all plans is a sequence of choices. So when you have a plan, that means the plan entails that there's something that will be in and something that will be out. It's not a fruit bowl or a fruit salad or a salad of all kind of stuff. It's if you get up this morning, you say you're gonna have breakfast. The mere fact that you say, listen, I'm gonna have breakfast, what is it the breakfast gonna have? Well, if you're gonna have something in the breakfast, then something shouldn't be there. Now, I hope that you're not eating where you're having cereal and salad and the whole everything your fridge throw in a bowl and then eat that. That would be strange. You put in some sesame seed oil, you put in some vanilla, if you eat like that, tell me. But life doesn't go like that. What you do, you say today I'm gonna have cereal, to that this tomorrow I'm gonna have a sandwich, and so forth. But I don't know. I don't think vanilla flavor and sesame seed flavor goes together. So when you're making choices, again, it involves a sequence of choices. I choose this, and I can't choose that because these doesn't work together. So I say, if you say, listen, Lloyd, I want to build a house. I say, what's the size of the house? What's going to be the entail the house, or the house going to be? Say, I'm going to be a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I say, okay, so that's a choice. So that means when you build a house, you might not be able to put a 3rd bedroom or a 4th bedroom there. You have to put 2. So it's going to be structured that way, right? So as I say on my notes here, says some choices has to be eliminated, have to be eliminated, dropped, sacrificed, or they are required if you want an aquarium in your 2nd-story bedroom. Okay, I put that there for myself. So this is what I'm saying here. So I remember I heard about a person that had a lot of money, and they had in their bedroom they had I think 8-foot tall aquarium in their bedroom, right? So I said, well, okay, and it was in the 2nd story. So I said, wow, that's a fascinating thing. I wouldn't mind having that myself. I love, to me, part of going on a vacation is always going to an aquarium or a garden. So I said, okay, so how did they do that? How did they execute that? How does a person get an aquarium that size, a size that a human being literally can go in the aquarium, in their bedroom? How do they do that, right? I know you can do it, but how do you execute it? Most of the house had to be humongous. So it has to be a big house. This was a person with millions of dollars. And then they said, well, they had to reinforce the floors. So that's a plan. So you're just going to go, somebody could say, anybody could do that. You couldn't. Because it's just a regular house couldn't do it. Because when you're talking about gallons and gallons of water, just the weight of that would rip a house, rip a regular, the load bearing of the house could not stand that. So somehow you would have to put the flooring in, or the reinforcement in to the floors to be able to make it happen. So it's just a plan. This is what I want. And they say, okay, let's put it on paper. Go to the architect, draw this for me. All right, architect, draw it. You go to some engineer and say, engineer this for me. How would I make this work? And the engineer said, this is how you do it. And you go and they say, that's the plan. And then they execute the plan. And then now the test come, pour in the water. Before you put the fish, pour in the water. Let's see this. Stand up structurally, hopefully, long term. And then you say, we have a plan. This is how you do it. He said, great, right? You execute the plan. When I go someplace and I go to aquarium, I always sometimes just touch the glass and try to estimate how thick the glass is. And I said, man, that glass, I think it's plexiglass they use, but it has to be customized. But the glass could be easily 10 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches wide, the plexiglass, to be able to hold all that water. So you've been in there where you go to an aquarium and you walk through a tunnel, right? You're going through the tunnel and above you is the fish swimming or flying. I say what do they call these things that fly? They look like they're flying. They have wings. and they're kind of rectangular, no, diamond shape, whatever that fish is. And they're flying, right? And they're flying above your head. It's beautiful, but they're looking at us and say, what kind of glass is this? What size is it to be able to hold that much water in a kind of convex, whatever it is, shape? Must be a lot of pressure that you can take, right? So you plan it and you execute and then whatever. But if you don't plan, how are you going to succeed? You're not going to be able to do life. But when you plan something, then something got to go and something got to be brought in to be able to make it. So in this life, when we talk about planning, we talk about making choices, and we talk about making choices, we got to understand sacrifice, that something has to give, something has to be in, and something has to be out. Life is not a salad bowl. Life is not a fruit bowl. We have everything that's thrown in there, and when you finish, you'll be like, man, my stomach feel like crazy. That's a whole lot of mix up. You got to make choices. And so and like I know that concept because I'm always interested in this type of stuff because in my house the basement no the top of the house is held up by an I beam. So normally they put a I beam in we call it commercial building. But whatever I was doing, if you've been to my house, you know what I'm talking about. You literally had to hold up the center with an I beam, and that's how they do it, and that was fascinating. So you can do that in a residential with basically metal support, and then I beams, and then stuff like that. You can bring in the weight because that's what it's made for. You have a high beam instead of using wood and making whatever thrust or whatever they call. They could just bring in metal, even in a residential. So this is doable. So you can do that, but then you can't use wood. You know what I'm saying? Like if you say I'm gonna do that craziness, and I want to have the best bedroom. I'm like, man, you have the best bedroom. You have fishes. When you wake up in the morning, you're looking at fishes. Might be. You can imagine wake up and you're confused. Am I at the sea? Am I snorkeling or scuba diving? No, you're actually home. But in order for you to do that, you have to bring in metal and you have to reinforce the foundation, well, the upstairs, with metal, and it's doable. But you can't use wood. So that's what I'm saying. You just when you make a choice or you go down a certain path, you can't use wood, but you can do it, and you'll be like, okay, that's a choice. So we start back again. That's my introduction. We start back with Luke chapter 12, verse 47. I'd end here. Yesterday, Luke chapter 12, verse 47. And we're talking about all houses, garden, and cities take thoughtful planning and work, hard work. You got to put in the hard work. So as I say, the more crazy the design is, the more thoughtful planning and the more hard work. So in our lives, everything we do in our lives is similar to making a city, making a home, or making a garden. You lay things out in a certain way. So as I say, you should be, for me, I always think if you're living this life, you should always have a calculator nearby you. And you should always have paper because you always have to be putting stuff on paper. You just keep going back to the drawing board and you keep planning out stuff. Does it always work? No, it doesn't always work. But I'm going to tell you, it works less if you don't have a plan. You always put a plan on paper and then you go execute the plan. So in Luke chapter 12, verse 47, it says, and that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. So when you know better and you don't do, I think it is just more wretched. I don't know about you, but this is my experience in life. If I do something and I know better and I didn't follow my process or follow what I know to do, and something bad happened, the outcome didn't come. I feel like I don't feel like God should whip me with many stripes. I feel like I want to whip myself with many stripes because I'm like, man, I knew better. Why did I follow that? I should never have done that. And I'm tell you, when time is of the essence, and time is always of the essence. Time is money, and money is time. When money is on the table, and you go down and you take a beating, man, you say, man, I should have done a plan, and I should have stick with my plan. So I'm gonna tell you, when you go through life, life is just better if you have a plan and you stick with your plan. Stick with your plan. Have a plan. Execute your plan. Know that things don't work by accident. I know somebody said, Lord, but I'm told from I've been young by TV or the people out there putting out stuff, and then by educators that this life is all about an accident. Everything is a coincidence. Evolution was 100 and something billion million years. of accidents, one accident after the other, and I'm brought here. We don't believe in that. We believe that says life is a plan. And if you don't know, there's nothing in a city, in your house, everything in your house, everything in your life is a plan. Everything, but what we do to mess up ourselves with that, we don't have plans. And if you're not planning, somebody's planning for you. so so you better have a plan for yourself. So that when somebody call you or somebody put a proposal to you and say, hey, do this or do that, you know that if that proposal or that thing doesn't fit into your plan, you'd be like, no, I'm on a different path. I have a plan for my life. Just have a plan. Just know that this life should not be a sequence of coincidence, and it never is. There is a plan. As I say, you have a plan. I believe God have a plan for you. And as you go along, the way things shake out, you readjust your plan. Okay, I think I should do it this way, but have a plan. That's my message for you today. Don't go through life getting whipped and beaten and don't have a plan. In Psalms 110, verse 10, Psalms 110, verse 10, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So notice again, I say to you, wisdom is knowledge and understanding. You can't be wise and not be knowledgeable, because wisdom is the knowledge that you have, how you grasp that knowledge. You can have knowledge and not grasp it in a proper way. You not interpret it and look at it a certain way and understand it a certain way. So knowledge and understanding, and then how you make that decision is the wisdom. How you apply that. So in other words, like what I was saying, it's a sequence of events. If you're planning something, then the more you think about it, and the more you research it, and say, I'm gonna put the research in, I'm gonna make sure I understand what am I dealing with here. Then I'm gonna try to kind of put it together, summarize it, get it in a way where I really grasp what I just learned. And then I make a choice. That choice is the what wisdom is. Now, it's only wisdom if it results good. Because somebody could do all of that, make a choice, and then when you see they get the results, says, "Oh, that was dumb of me. Well, I didn't grasp something. I didn't understand. There was something I didn't see that piece of data, but I didn't assess it properly, and because I didn't assess it properly, I didn't have a good understanding of what I was looking at. Bam, I made a mistake here, and the decision I make, oh dear, it's a dumb decision. That was very foolish of me, and I'm sure you've been there before. Hopefully, you have not, but I've been there before, and I realized that there's a piece of data that I need to understand, and I heard it, but I didn't really fully grasp what it was saying, and so hence in my decision making, I ignored it, and the decision came out to not be wise. It was a dumb decision. So sometime when we're young, we can be foolish. Sometime when we're just ignorant of stuff, not because we're trying to be ignorant, we make bad choices. So it's important to be a person that likes information, whether it be information you listen to, you read, or you're watching somebody explaining something. So that when you take all of that together, you make a choice. And that choice to me is what wisdom is. So notice it says here, fear the Lord, for the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Why you fear the Lord? Because one of the most terrible thing that I understand in the Bible, when you read the Bible, is that when people make bad choices, not only sometimes they suffer the consequences, but sometimes the whole family get wiped out. Like the Lord is not playing. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. The Lord will repay wicked people. So when you do wicked things, it will come back. As some people say in the secular world, they say what goes around comes around. In Hinduism, they say something like karma, but karma is not the full extent of what we're talking about here. But different people in different cultures have different understanding that they might not say they believe in God, but they believe that says you reap what you sow, but that's biblical also. But there's, as I say, what goes around comes around, and somehow something will come back and bite you in the buttocks. And if you've ever been bitten by a dog, then you know that's not a nice feeling. so so what goes around comes around. So notice here, when you have wisdom, you're like, it makes you wake up. It's a beginning of wisdom. You start waking up and understand, hey, listen, don't do certain things. Somebody said, man, you're wise, you didn't do certain things. Yeah, because I believe that there's as I said, the man upstairs will deal with me. So notice here, a good understanding of all day that do his commandment. So when you follow laws and rules, it tells you that you have a grasp. Because when you follow a law or rule, that's a grasp, right? There's a certain cadence to life. There's a certain sequence of life. So somebody could say, like what commandments I'm talking about? I'm talking about all commandments. Listen, if you understand that is early to bed and early to rise, that's good understanding. Somebody say, well, I thought all this commandment, that command, there's no commandment, there's no commandment in the Bible, or in any world, anywhere to go to bed and get a good night's sleep. Well, there's some things that they're commandments or they're rules that we do not we just think it's common sense. Nobody write it on paper. It's just like it's obvious, right? If you observe life, you'd be like, a good understanding of those who keep his commandments. And somebody say, you mean stealing and lying and stuff, like, don't do those things. Yes, but I'm talking about there's just some things if you observe life long enough, you say, wait a minute, it seems like the sun goes down at a certain time and then the sun rises at a certain time. Probably it's a time for me to take sleep, right? There's some people they like owls, or they're like rats, or what we call cockroaches. They come out at night, but that's not good understanding, right? So his praise endured forever. So what it is that we understand the process of life, because sometimes we just observe stuff. Some things we read in the Holy Bible and we say, okay, I understand that. So we do that. But when people are not thinking, they do a lot of dumb stuff, and their end result is just tell me that they don't understand, they don't know, and if they know, they don't grasp, and if they grasp, they're not using what they grasp to make a good decision. We know, we try to learn, and try to grasp what we learn, and then we try to apply that now in our day-to-day life to make choices. And those choices, when they come out good and the results are great because we had a good grasp of what we were, all the data we were reading, and then we try to understand that and we apply it, then now that would say that we have what we're wise person. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be wise person. So somebody could hear me and say, Lloyd, I hear what you say. I want that 8 foot tall, thousands of pound of water aquarium in my bedroom. And first I have to say, well, how big is your bedroom? How big is that room? And say, oh, it's only like, what is it, 13 or 12 by, say 12 by 12, not a big room. But like, how you gonna get that in your room? And then, and you have reinforced, oh yeah, your room is on concrete. I say, okay, your room on concrete. It might hold up, might, all right? And so forth and so on. So again, it's not, you could have something, you can hear something, but it's not for you. There's just some things that are not for me. I can't do it. I can't handle it. And that's a big part of life. So notice here, of this crazy article I'm going to read to you, but I'm going to go to Proverbs 7:24, verse 3 through 6. Notice here, through wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. So we want to do our life like we do a house. Everything in a house makes sense. Everything in a house makes sense, right? And it's by planning it makes sense. Recently, I was saying to Tamara, I was saying to my wife that when I first moved to this house that I'm in, what you're listening to me from, I was surprised at the amount of plugs in the house. Right, I was like, why they put so much plugs? It was built it was built at the federal standard, not the New Jersey or state standard. So the building standard or codes they built was the national standard. So it supersedes all. So they didn't, the local building inspector didn't inspect it. He just came up and looked. We were talking and said, oh, come on up. He come up and he look around and he said, well, he was just looking around. So I asked him I say, it seemed like it's more plugs than I would imagine. I don't know why I was fixated on the plugs, but I've never been in a house with this much sockets, electric sockets that I'm talking about, electrical sockets or plugs or whatever you call it. And I said to him, so why did they build it with so much outlets? That's another way to call it, right? Outlets, electric outlet, let's say socket plugs. And he said, well, that the standard they're building now is that they put all these plugs in because they're assessing that as times go on, there's going to be more gadgets. And so the national standard built for the increase in gadgets. And I said, really? He said, yeah, that's what it is. And then he said the breakers they're expecting more power to come out. So the breakers are bigger for even the sockets and stuff like that because you're having more draw. And I say, okay. And I listen to that. And here we are now. And it's amazing that that is the reality, that the amount of stuff that you have to plug in, and then the amount of sockets and the amount of stuff that exists. Like you right now, you listen to me talking to you, and it is just amazing the amount of stuff that is in front of me, that what's going on. That is it. It is crazy. And so, what was that? It was building not for where we were, but they were building for where we were. The codes were for where we were going. So they're assessing and say, wow, people are using more gadgets. So let's do it. So now I'm assuming that a house that was built now would be built with even more. So I've not been to the. I'm gonna go to electric aisle in Lowe's or Home Depot and go see, because now I think probably you just build a plug and then you'd put a USB right there at the plug, USB. And now today I would think you probably just need USB C, because I was noticing that on the new iPhone 15. So I'm dating time I'm talking to you here. So when it replays you, somebody will say, oh, okay, this is an older presentation. But anyway, the iPhone 15, they have now finally converted that thing to the USB C. So the kind of a more circular. So you don't have to twist it or whatever. So before, Apple was fighting to use the Thunderbolt, and then they went to, I think, USB C. So I think everything comes now with USB C. So it doesn't matter if you have, I think, Android device or Apple device. And I think it was Europe that forced them to do that. So talk about lawsuits and stuff. So so you see this here. So through wisdom, and house is built, and by understanding it is established. So you built it by wisdom, because wisdom is choices, right? You're making a choice, you make this choice, you make this choice, you make this choice. But in your personal life, what I'm saying, you do the same thing. You're building a certain culture within your life, within your home, within your family. This is what we do. This is how we do it. That's how we do it. This is a why, because we have that knowledge, we understand the knowledge, we make a choice, and the choices give us this result, and then we move forward. If something goes wrong, we reassess, we make another choice, because we understand better now. We have more data, and we keep doing that so that we get the best results. Because if a house, which is an inanimate stuff that serve us, is built by wisdom and understanding, then more so our personal life, more so our health, because the house that we really live in is our physical body. The external house is just something to help protect our physical body, to serve us. So that physical body, this is why we're into health, because the body is more important. The most important asset that I have is my body. And so everything else is peripheral to it and serves it. So we plan accordingly and say, okay, what the results I want. If I want a certain results, then I must nourish myself for that result. That's just the fact. I must put in the work, put in the planning, and lay certain down on paper. What do I take as herbs? What do I take as supplements? How do I exercise? How do I do all these things so I can get the results? Whatever that result is. Somebody said, Lloyd, I want to be the biggest monster on the block. I'm like, go for it. But what's your plan? I'm just want to beat. Yeah, okay, great. Well, you want to be what, 250, 300 pounds, pure muscle? I'm saying, yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, so what's your plan? Oh, no, I just want to beat. Nah, you need to put a knowledge in, do the research, how you get to that monster. Then you want to be able to grasp it. What does that mean for me and myself, my body, and my lifestyle? How is my lifestyle going to fit into that, or it's going to fit into my lifestyle, or whichever, or vice versa? And then next, you start to execute. And then if you execute, you get results. I say, man, you're wise. That's wisdom, right? So, but through wisdom, a house is built. So, what are you doing for your life today? What do you plan for your life? How are you executing? How are you researching to get that result? You want to put in that result. And by understanding, it's established. When something is established, that means it's settled, it's done. It's established. You can say, listen, that's where that thing is. That's how it is. What are you doing for that? And by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with precious and pleasant riches. So a big part of our value is in our literal house. But a big part of our value is in our physical body, and the big one here is our brains. Its chambers is filled with precious things. What are the books you're reading? What are the documentaries you're watching? See, that's what bring value to your head. Now, somebody said, Lloyd, I'm into a lot of entertainment. As my battery died, I'm into a lot of entertainment here. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. You into a lot of entertainment. Well, there be something you might be into more, which is you need to spend some time feeding that brain. And the more books you read, the more things you do to not make yourself vapid and mindless, then is the better that brain's gonna be. The better that brain's gonna be is the better the results gonna be. You want good results, you wanna get good results, then I'm telling you, you need to read some books and get the best books from the best people. And don't follow me. You heard what I said earlier. Don't read books that has to do with what do you call it? These books, what these books have to do with evolution and stuff like that. That's training your mind to depend upon chance. We don't train our minds to depend upon chance. We want to be able to read books that's going to give us good understanding. So by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant things. A wise man is strong. Yea, a man of knowledge increase in strength. That's why we do what we do here every day. You sometimes you just get a piece of information. It gets into your head. You're like, okay, that's good information. You don't know what to do with it. It's just good information. And then what it is that as you do that year by year, day by day, month by month, week by week, you just increase. You're just increasing. The results will come. So part of your planning is to be a consumer of information because they all start with knowledge. And then to meditate upon that information and then to use that information to make choices. For by wise counsel shall thou shalt make thy war, and in the multitude of counselors there's safety. So hopefully you listen to me here because you've just chosen that I should be one of your counselors that's giving you some counsel. So in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So you want to be able to have that safety. It's like a safety net. And that safety net comes because of the multitude of counselors. So I'll go to this, as I said, the crazy article. Somehow I see this article and it fits into what I was doing. It's just a difficult article to share, but that's a choice I make. Probably this is an unwise choice, but we go with the article. So this is in USA Today. This is one of the top headlines. So I clicked and it goes with what I'm doing. So notice here, all house garden cities take thoughtful what again, planning and hard work. So here you have this article here that talk about making choices, and it's about a Missouri teacher put on leave after district official discover or OnlyFans account. So I've been seeing this thing popping up. What I'm getting from it is OnlyFans is basically this online subscription services that people doing sex work will go on and parade themselves for their clients or their fans for money. And so this person is a teacher and she's in Missouri. And it says here, Missouri high school teacher, English teacher, so teaching English to the kids, was placed on leave after district official discovered she was performing pornography on the website OnlyFans to supplement her income. Brianna Kopech, it says 28, so it's a 28-year-old lady or young woman, taught at St. Clair High School in Franklin County, about 55 miles south of St. Louis. She told the St. Louis Post-Dispatch last month that she understood the risk involved with the account. Quoting her, she says, I'm very aware, so not just partially aware, but she's very aware. It says here, very aware. Okay, very aware that I probably never going to teach again. So 28, she have lost her teaching career. She said in an interview with the Post-Dispatch, I am sad about that. I do miss my students. Kopech, who was in her second year of teaching at St. Clair, said she was on leave Wednesday and her access to email and other school software was revoked as the district investigates. I don't know what they're investigating. So Superintendent Kyle Cruz said in a statement that the district was made aware that an employee may have posted inappropriate media on one or more internet sites. Cruz said legal counsel would investigate and take action according to the board policy. There is this expectation that teachers should be moral leaders of students. That's the lady talking now. Moral leaders of students, and I do not disagree with that. She said, I taught the curriculum. I taught students reading, writing, and I didn't guide them on my thoughts or beliefs. So she's saying, I'm just teaching English, whatever she was teaching. She wasn't teaching them about what she believes. Yeah, she don't teach them about what she believes. So notice here, she, she said she joined OnlyFans during the summer to supplement her teaching salary to supplement, which was about $42,000. So she was paid $42,000 last year, according to the public records. She said she made an additional $8,000 to $10,000 a month performing on the website. So that's would put her close to 100 to 100 and some thousand just on the website alone for that few months. I don't know, is that a career? So she decided to join the website because the subscription only business model, which she thought would help to protect her identity. Corporate says she, I guess you would have to wear a mask, right? Corporate says she doesn't know how the district found her account, probably one of the district superintendents. I don't know. And she said that no inappropriate content was filmed on school grounds, which I guess people pay more for that. Said that was that was like my complete separate personal life outside of teaching. And so this thing surfaced, and now that it's on the internet or on the news, she's gotten more fans, she says, and I guess she's done. So she says, I do not regret joining OnlyFans. I know it can be a taboo, and some people may believe that it is shameful, but I don't think sex work has to be shameful. I do just wish things just happen in a different way. And then it said that she makes $42,000, and I guess experienced teachers make 61,000, and so forth and so on. And then they go on to more madness. So when you look at, as I say, all house gardens, cities, takes thoughtful planning and hard work. When you look at this life is about making choices. So you make a choice. As I was saying before, let's go back to what I was saying before. So as I was saying before, if you want good results, you can't operate off luck, and you have to have a plan, and you have to execute your plan. And realize when you execute your plan, it involves a sequence, as I was saying here, a sequence of choices that culminates in a final decision. So like when you're planning a house, planning a city, whatever, you have to make choices, and those choices has to be in a sequence of choices. And so when people make certain choices, they're making certain choices, and the end result is going to be whatever the end result is going to be. So a lot of time what you find is that people making choices, and as they make those choices, you can see that they're not thinking through the choice that they're making and how this is going to play out long term going down the road. And when I saw that story about that teacher, I was thinking that's a bad choice in my mind, not just because of the job that she's doing, but the work that she was doing is a respectable work. It's a good work to be a teacher. It's a respectable work to do that type of job. And also, what it is a long-term work. Because with certain type of jobs like what she's going into, you have an expiration date. You have a date where people people in that mindset always looking for the next greatest and best thing. And when you make a choice like that, the expiration date and something like that is to me would be very quick, especially for a female, because that to me just like reek with young and foolish and bad choice. You if you choose that, you can't have that. Now hopefully we're not going to the world where the world is so sinful that they will say, well, she is, that's her personal business, and she could still teach the kids these things, even if the parents of the kids are clients, because that is making choice. That's a sequence of choices. I make this choice, then I can't do this over here. That's just life. I this is a choice I make over here. I cannot um I cannot go and make this choice over here and then expect a different result or a different outcome. The choices that we make in life will give us the outcomes that we get. So in my mind, you make a choice and you say, I'm going to be a teacher. The good thing about that job not only is the respectability, she probably should be getting more pay, I don't know, but or probably she and some other OnlyFans people should go protest at the school district, since I guess we're in the season of protest. And if you've been noticing that there's another current events going on, like there's everybody seems to be protesting, so I guess they should join the protest line, since that's I guess that's the season we're in. You just go protest. We need more money. The inflation is killing us over here. But you make a choice, and if you choose a teaching job, that's a job that's not only respectable now, but also it's a job that is long term, that you can teach way into your, even past retirement if necessary. But you shouldn't, but you could teach for long. The amount of money that's going to be made in 10 years should have made 400 and something thousand. Now somebody said, Lloyd, but she's doing double that with only fun. For how long? Right? And somebody could tell me, no, she could go on until she's 60. I don't know. Is that real? All right. Long term, you be a teacher, you're going to make this amount of money with the respectability, and you could make it long term. Because let's say, you see, if let's say at a higher rate, you make the average person make 60. She's just 2 years in. That's $600,000 in 10 years. So, this is to me a better long term plan, that consistent money with benefits and all this type of stuff. This is, because when somebody say, I make this amount of money freelancing, okay, you make this amount of money freelancing, but how's that going to work? Because you start to pay, if you have to invest in your 401k by yourself, you have to do a retirement investment, you have to get now your own health insurance, because you're probably doing a job that is risky, probably risking her life, I don't know. But you have to do health insurance, you have to do all the type of stuff. How is that going to work long term? Is that really real money being made, in the sense of it's more money than double what she's making as a teacher? But long term, when you talk about benefits, health insurance, in retirement money, all that type of stuff, plus your pay and so forth, and then the respectability of the job, plus the long term money that you're making, I think that she make a bad choice, and that choice she gonna pay for that. That's a foolish choice. So this is what it is. So again, I do believe, as you're saying here, that they should. That's interesting text here. That they should pay her more so she don't have to go do that type of job. Yeah, I do agree. I mean, 40 something $1,000 with all the inflation. I think the average American makes 59,000. So and so yeah, the question is, how did the school board saw and know that she was on there? Are they like fans all? Yeah, it's a possibility. It's a high possibility. Probably one of the parents or one of the other teachers, like, oh, look what we found here. There, so they probably were partaking, sure, but I think the decision there is, but somebody could say, well, that's a wise decision because she's making that much money part time. Yeah, that's crazy money. And now her subscription go up. Oh, and not only her subscription go up, but she's raised her price because she better make, this is a bad choice she's making, because that's not going to work out long term. And so when we're making choices, we're building our lifestyle through knowledge and understanding. We're building our lifestyle style. We're building our, what would I call this now? Our health, our mental state through this knowledge and understanding. And when we do this, we get better results. I take this other text here to close, to kind of summarize up stuff. So you see this type of stuff, and this stuff is going on. I'm hearing people talking about this type of crazy stuff is happening more and more, where more people are doing that. Now, the other thing it speaks to, though, just talking about knowledge and understanding, it speaks to this idea here that when you look at what social media internet, all that type of stuff does. It liberalizes or open up avenues where you don't have to go through the big investors or big companies anymore. You can sidestep those big companies. And that's interesting also, right? Because when you look at, like, with, as I say, with social media, you can and other type of medias where you can basically, like, I can be here talking to you the way I'm talking to you now via the media, that I can just go directly to you and you can just you know listen directly, and I don't have to go to you via any major media. That's interesting how things have been liberalized and open up. That's that. Deuteronomy 28, verse 18 through 20. Deuteronomy 28, verse 18 through 20 says, I denounce unto you this day, or I protest, making the statement to you, pleading with you, so to speak, or I'm making, putting forward these arguments to you, that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land whither thou goest over the Jordan to possess it, if you don't do what you were saying before, that is. So we are solemnly protesting. Notice what we're saying here. He says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death. Now, I said some of that before you. Blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. So he says, he's basically saying, listen, I'm talking to you here, but heaven is recording this, and earth is, everything is recording what I'm saying to you. That I'm asking you, or I'm set before you, life and death. So when we are doing life and we want to avoid death, one of the things that we do is that we make proper choices, that we understand, as I say, what sacrifice entails. That when we sacrifice, what we're doing, we're simply sacrificing something that is against our best interests, something that is going to be a short-term gain, but long-term is going to be destructive to ourselves. Everything we do in that in mind. As I say, from the simple where you go to sleep, to what you have for breakfast, for lunch, dinner, to what you supplement or not supplement, to how you exercise or not exercise, to how you go and you look at life long term. It's better to make less money, but it is consistent money long term than to make a big hit. People looking for luck, they want to be able to hit the lottery, make $1 million. And I'm like, good for them. Somebody has said, listen, I'll work and I try to make $50,000 for the next 20 years. I'll make $1 million. Somebody say, well, wouldn't you just want to do life with that $1 million? Well, that's a lot of life I think one has to avoid, right? Just think about it. If I do life and I'm waiting for that big $1 million hit, the person who is doing life with that $50,000 every year, what they're doing life incrementally. And they're getting to be able to maintain a certain lifestyle for the next 20 years. The other person is probably doing everything wrong, and then they're not enjoying a certain quality of life, and then they're gonna get that big hit, and they're gonna pull them out of the ghetto. You're gonna pull them out of the poor, the poverty-stricken lifestyle. Why do life like that? To me, that consistent daily task, built up, invested, taken care of, long term, you just get beautiful results. And that's what it is. So he says, he set before you life and blessing. You want to be blessed, you do the right thing. The fear of the Lord is a beginning of wisdom. You don't do that whole lifestyle. You don't do that gigolo lifestyle. You don't do that lifestyle where you're robbing people, stealing people, lying on people. You don't do that lifestyle. Lord will bless you. So he set before you blessing and cursing. This is still part of our life today. You look at the way certain people live, you look at their lifestyle, you look at the results of their lifestyle. Wisdom is really seen in the results. It's results based. And you say, man, that's a cursed lifestyle. The things that they're choosing to do is ending up with them with a lot of curses in their lives. Just every choice they make, the end result is always cursing. And when you assess the choice, you say, man, that was bad planning. I couldn't see how that was going to work, and it didn't work, right? So this is how you want to do life. You want to say, wait a minute, I learn, and that's what I'm set before you. I understand what I learned, and I make a choice. Today, what are the choices you're making? What are the choices you're making? And if you make bad choice, you get bad result. So that's why it's important for you to pour over the data, pour over the facts and information. As learn history, learn what just happened a decade ago, 2 decades, 3 decades ago. Understand that, and then try to grasp it in a way that you can make a decision. And the wisdom will be when you get better results. So he says, I said blessing and cursing. And most people are not seeing that. They having curses in their life, but they think it's just their bad luck. They're having misfortune. But they don't see that it's the choices that they make in life, and the choices is resulting in all kind of inadvertent situation and bad situation that they thought, oh man, that's life. Oh, I never get a break. And I'm like, yeah, you never get a break because you're always making all these bad choices that give you no break. If you want to get a break, then what you do, you make the right choices. And when you get the right choices, you'll find that doors will open up for you and stuff like that. And when you get into bad situation, go seek information and you shall find. So he says, therefore, choose life. So everything that we do is always a matter of making that choice that's going to give us life extension. It's going to give us a better life, a better quality of life. There's a reason you do things a certain way because it increases your quality of life. Don't tell me if you're in a home and the home is not clean, the home is not organized, the home is not arranged in a certain way, that your quality of life does not decrease. When you have life that is more organized, when things are clean, when things are put aside in a certain way, it just works better. There's some things I look at and I'm like, man, I need to just clean that stuff up, or I need to take it and throw it in the landfill. I need to get rid of that stuff. Why? Because anything that clutters cause confusion. It just confuses the mind. I think a lot of time people have confused mind because the food they eat, the way they live, the choices they made, everything in their life, the things they consume on media just leads to a lot of confusion. So he said, I said before you, therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayst love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayst obey his voice, and that thou mayst cleave unto him. For he is thy life and the length of thy days. Notice here, he adds days to you. So don't tell me that if you make choices to sleep properly, supplement, take care of yourself, don't go into certain bad situation, whatever. Don't tell me don't increase your days. You literally increase your days and increase the quality of your days. That thou mayst dwell in the land which the Lord thy God swear unto thy fathers, to Abram, to Isaac, to Jacob, to give them. So you want a blessed life, you want life to go a certain way for you, then what you simply do is choose life. How you choose life? Learning, understanding that learning, and making wise choices. So in your planning, that's what you do. That's how you do it. Notice here we close with Galatians 2, verse 20. It says, I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless, I live. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. So the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God. And when we live by faith of the Son of God, what we're simply doing is that we are looking at certain information, especially in the Bible, and we're seeing good results, we're seeing bad results. And by faith, we make the choice that will give us good results. And what I can tell you from all these years is that you will get the good results. That's simply what we're doing here. We look at the word, we assess what we try to get an understanding of it, and we see what good choices were made and how they result. And we plan accordingly, we execute accordingly. We see what bad choices were made and how the bad results came about. We assess, we understand, and we avoid those choices. The choices we're made are by faith when we do the right thing. Because we're saying, I see the good results and I see how the good results were attained. I make that choice, I plan in that way. And I don't know what tomorrow brings, but I know that by faith, the results will be good. So we plan by faith, we execute by faith, and we live by faith. That's, to me, is living by faith. So this is what we want to do here every day in our lives. So let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, I thank you for your word. And this day I pray, dear Lord, that you may be with us, dear Father, as we walk humbly before thee. And may you bless, dear Lord, our planning and the decision making that we do from day to day. This is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen Well, thanks for being with me here on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward to talking to you again live tomorrow when we should talk about wisdom for living. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.